Randi Weingarten stepped down. Is that what I'm hearing?
Longtime Democrat Randi Weingarten stepping down from her DNC post after criticizing Ken Martin's
The
leadership.
union boss. This is one of the Randy Gutfeld was making fun of that person. Yeah, that's a female, right? So I mean, she's like, there's like moderate left and then far left. This is on the far left. This is on the edge. She wants to get a hold of your kids and teach them and teach your kids the way she want to teach the kids.
The teachers union president writing a letter to Martin saying, quote, "I appear to be out of step with the leadership you are forging, and I do not want to be the one who keeps questioning why we are not enlarging our tent and actively trying to engage more of our communities." Former Michigan gubernatorial candidate Tudor Dixon joins me now. And Tudor, for those that don't know, Ken Martin now runs the DNC. He had a little battle with his vice chair, David Hogg, and David Hogg's now out. Randi Weingarten's out. The latest example of the Democrat Party literally imploding at the seams, Tudor. Do they get it together before the midterms?
Oh, I mean, right. It's almost like we're watching a breakup every single day now. But I think the more important thing to talk about here is that the Democrat Party is not radical enough for these people. We said that for a long time, especially during 2020 when Randi Weingarten.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. That's what the Democrats need right now is to just bring it back to the, be a moderate thing. I mean, you can be liberal. That's fine. I mean, but when you got to understand, or you have to realize, or when, sometimes I don't even realize, they're actually like going to the far left, and that's what actually Trump, he's really good at that. You know what I mean? The Democrats was, back in the day, was pro, border security, pro, or anti-illegal aliens that coming in. You can see that in old videos of Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton's, and Obama. But now they seem to be like shifting. Trump had shifted them to align themselves with criminal aliens, like who was that guy from the Maryland Man, whatever. All of a sudden they're siding with the with the foreigners, like in riots in LA. All of a sudden they're what I mean. That's so, and they don't realize that because it's this because they're blinded by the hatred, by the TDS, by the Trump derangement syndrome. And I think some of those Democrats are realizing that, like who was that? Fetterman. Fetterman's realizing that. It's like, wait a minute, guys. If Trump would ban breathing air, they'll probably stop breathing, or he would ban kicking a groin. They'll probably start kicking himself in the groin. That's how stupid they get now. That's how stupid they are.
Kids out of school. She had a huge influence over our children's education, and it was for the negative. And yet people were saying, no, she's just a moderate Democrat. She's not a moderate. David Hogg was not a moderate. David Hogg was ousted because he was trying to primary Democrats that he did not think were socialist enough. This party is breaking right now because it's not the moderate old Democrat Party. They are moving towards socialism. And when she says she wants to include other communities.
No, this with David Hogg, though, he's just such a young, in that political arena. He's just now finding out, because he's surrounded with this. He was surrounded with all this anti-gun and far left, and then he's trying to, merge or put himself in with the Democrats and all that. And he's just finding out. He's finding out that he can't just. They're unshakable. Democrats are unshakable, and when it comes to things like that. There's Randi Weingarten, she's just, realizing, like, wait a minute, I can't convince all of these Democrats to go to this side. You know what I mean? So Same thing with this with David Hogg. He's gonna come around. He's gonna come back and he's gonna learn how to play games with the Democrats. He's still young.
They're not American communities, and that's the problem. The Democrats don't want, they see why some of them see why they lost in 2024,
Yeah.
and Randi Weingarten doesn't want to hear about it, David Hogg doesn't want to hear about it, and we may just see the party completely break apart.
Okay, so you're an expert in politics. Which
Already did.
one of these sides wins out in the end? The new blood, the David Hoggs of the world, really trying to force this party even further to the left, or what I'm going to call the old guard. And I don't really know what their position is, to be quite frank with you. All I know is that old guard that's being led by Ken Martin wants to retain power at all costs. So which side wins out?
Well, I think we're going to be watching very closely what happens in your city of New York this next couple of weeks as we watch this primary play out, and we see that the candidate who has openly said, I am a socialist and I want to bring socialist policies to one of the most powerful cities in the world, and he's gaining traction. This is happening right now in the Democrat Party, and I believe that if we see that go that direction.
See, the problem is they're not saying that. They're not saying that they're a socialist. They're not saying that, they know how to cloak themselves into, just like how AOC and all of them in New York, when he's talking about what she's talking about, and a lot of these people, a lot of these politicians, they know how to cloak themselves in guise of it's like how Obama, he's not a total full-blown socialist, but he believes in a lot of in socialism and all, but as the Democrats now need to basically just find their new Obama like person. They want, because hating Trump is not going to work alone, and you can see that they want to follow that pattern of what Trump did, kind of a rebel, kind of a, against the administrations, when he came into the spotlight, President Trump on the political spotlight, he tore that Republican, the Republicans, man, he tore that apart. He brought in, created his own movement like MAGA, MAGA movement. And that's what the Democrats need. I mean, they need to tap into the moderate Republicans and moderate, because being on the left is just not, there's just a fraction of them, I mean, look at what happened, 2024, the elections. I mean, majority voted for Trump, the moderate, the, libertarians and all of that. Democrats even, because of RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. And he's talking about when that Democrats breaking up. It already did, ever since when they pushed Bernie Sanders out, that broke apart, big chunk of that. When they pushed RFK out, Tulsi Gabbard. And when they try to, force Kamala into their, into their throat. I was to say that they're trying to push Kamala out, to be the prominent Democrat leader that they, after Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is so brain dead they cannot even function, So that's what happened with that one. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know if you have other opinions, but I can see that from the way I follow the politics. Now, so that's what's going on with the Democrats. With this midterms, though, they still they still going to be able to, I think, pick up some seats and. Because it's always like that. It's always been after the, the landslide with George Bush, and then, midterms, Democrat, got their seat of the Congress and Senate, won that, majority of that. So that's what's going to happen with the upcoming elections. When was that, 2020, 26, I think? Yeah. So, Yeah, that's why all these lefties like Randi Weingarten is, coming out and being flushed out, being pushed out.
If we see him win that primary, then the Democrat Party is very close to being completely lost.
I think that's a really good indicator. I think you're right to point that out. Somebody who seems to be absolutely on the outs with his own party, Senator John Fetterman, facing backlash yet again from the Democrats for supporting Trump's military parade on Saturday, posting the following on X. This parade is comprised of our sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers, the very best of us. Regardless of your politics, it's appropriate to celebrate the 250 years of sacrifice, dedication, and service. But that wasn't good enough for the left, a Philadelphia progressive group leader calling out Fetterman.
See? The guy had a stroke, talking, he is making sense. He's the common sense. He's the common sense Democrat today. Fetterman. And he's getting, called out by his own party for not, for how dare you, like, align yourself with Trump, with being a pro-military. How dare you to be a pro-military? That's the mistake again with this, with this majority of this Democrat. They ought to be following Fetterman, not like the, whoever coming out with those memos. Sometimes these, the Democrats will come out with a memo with a slogan and they just copy each other. You can see that on other videos about, like, when they started swearing, they started saying the S word and all of that and F word. And it's just, it's so fake. Fetterman is the common sense Democrats now. Believe that.
No Kings protest over the weekend, saying the following: we are looking to the leaders who will fight for us, because even today there are folks among the Democrat Party who think we should roll over and play dead. Anyone seen John Fetterman here? Look, this parade was patriotism, not politics. Why can't the progressive left acknowledge and honor the parade, honor our sacrifices of our brave men and women in the military?
That's a mistake.
Who ultimately fought for that right to do what they did over this weekend, which is those No Kings protests. It doesn't make sense to her.
And I just might add, how, like, Trump, how Trump knows, and he knows how to manipulate them. Now, Trump is putting the Democrats to be the anti-military because of this. This parade is not about because he wants to be the king. This is king, no king's protest and all that. It's really stupid. If he's the king, he's not going to let. The king will not let a protest come to. The king will not let that kind of protest. Period. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, Trump is trying to put the Democrats to become an anti-military. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's good for Fetterman and all these Democrats to stand up and say, wait a minute. This is politics aside, man. We should be honoring this, men and women of uniform. And he's supporting that. This is good for him. This is good. If he's recovered from that, whatever stroke that he might have. I think he's recovering. I think you're going to see him. He's going to rise up to the occasion, man. He's going to rise up and become the common sense Democrat.
No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, this is really an extension of the conversation that we're already having. I was watching the parade over the weekend, and I think one of the most powerful moments, honestly, was when Joey Jones was on your program talking about this, and he said, look, we fought this war for 20 years. We came home, it ended badly. No one talked about it. There was no celebration. Morale was at an all-time low when Donald Trump took office. And now, today, we spend the day celebrating the people that went out there and fight and lost limbs,
like he's
like
really
Joey Jones. He was showing how much it meant to him and talking about how much it meant to everybody else. Why in the world would that be something the Democrats would attack? And this again goes to the fact that their party is just separating from American values, celebrating the people that keep you safe. It makes me laugh because this is also the party that wants to have an award ceremony for everything, and they want to make a big deal and dress up and,
yeah,
and they want to be
exactly.
on TV. But to celebrate the men and women that allow them to do that every day,
Yeah,
that allow
exactly.
them to dress in any way they want and go out and get whatever award they want, they won't take the time to celebrate them. That makes me sick.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before we start introducing him as independent John Fetterman, but we'll see. Tudor Dixon, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's basically if he becomes independent, he's going to pull a common sense Democrat. And, you know, the Democrats, whatever left and the Democrats left, it'll be just them. You know, what is that, 15, 25% or something like that? You know? But anyway. All right, so that's it for today. Keep it here.